Hey folks, welcome to DocTalk. Thanks for joining us today. We're going to have a pretty interesting show. I've got Mark Spare here from the Kansas State University College of Veterinary Medicine to talk about anaplasmosis and ticks. You're not going to want to miss this. You start itching and scratching thinking about those ticks right now. We'll see you here after these messages.
Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com. This segment brought to you by Kansas Regenerative Medicine. Your stem cells, your health, your life.
Well folks, welcome to DocTalk. Mark?
Thanks for having me here, Dr. Thomson.
It's great to have you folks. This is Mark Spare, future to be Dr. Spare. Mark is a unique talent here at Kansas State University or anywhere. He's working on his DVM and working on his PhD at the same time. Just a tremendous wealth of resource for us here at the College of Veterinary Medicine. Many years experience in cow herds, not only in Kansas but in Russia. And to have someone of your stature come back, join us in the profession, it's just great. Mark has been doing research and is still doing research on anaplasmosis. And so let's just kind of kick it off with this Ashland, Kansas native to talk a little bit about what is anaplasmosis.
You know, Dr. Thomson, there's this anaplasmosis is an obligate intracellular bacteria that parasitizes red blood cells in cattle. It's caused by a bacteria called Anaplasma marginale, and it's named for the residence it takes up in the marginal part of the red blood cell in an animal. It's transmitted by blood that's exchanged between a mechanical vector or a biological vector. Mechanical vectors include such things as flies. Those can be stable flies or house flies or horse flies. Needles, needle pokes, tattoo guns, implant guns, ear taggers. Biological vectors, by that I mean ticks. Ticks can actually, when they take up residence on an animal, they suck blood, it goes down into their midgut, then they exchange saliva and blood while they're feeding. So ticks can actually take in Anaplasma marginale, amplify it in their midgut, and then they actually regurgitate it as they exchange blood with an animal.
I knew I didn't like ticks.
Yeah.
Now I just have another reason. But it's amazing to me. So it's once it's in the blood, it kills the red blood cells, and it is transmitted. I mean, I don't think a lot of people realize that they can transmit it with a tattoo gun or
No.
you know, in our own equipment.
It's really odd the way we can propagate this disease, and I'll correct you a little bit. When the anaplasma latches onto the red blood cell, it does not kill the red blood cell. So what we find is the body, as those red blood cells are filtered through the defensive spleen mechanism, those red blood cells are destroyed by the body's own defenses. So we see these clinical signs associated with anemia, jaundice, lethargy. We see dehydration, leading to aggression of these animals because their own bodies are destroying their red blood cells. Okay, the thing that we use to kind of rule out this type of red blood cell destruction is that we don't find them urinating red urine, because those red blood cells are being destroyed by the body, so it's leading to this icterus. So it's kind of a rule out that we can actually use.
Oh my gosh. So folks, if you hadn't figured it out, Dr. Spare has quite the knowledge here in anaplasmosis, and is going to come back and we're going to talk about some more about what the clinical signs are of your cows if they have anaplasmosis, what to look for in your herd, and then we're going to talk a little bit about his research. Thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. More after these messages.
Watch Ag AM in Kansas online at agaminkansas.com. Soil is the life of a farm, and for 25 years, SureCrop Liquid Crop Nutrition has helped growers produce abundant quality crops while preserving and improving the soils they steward. SureCrop offers complete soil and plant analysis with cropping recommendations, delivery direct to your on-farm storage, and quality crop nutrition custom blended for your field. Choose SureCrop for the assurance of excellence for your soil. Call today or visit their website for more information.
Ag Promo Source is a unique group of marketing specialists with one mission: help your ag business grow. Each affiliate has their own area of expertise, and they work together to bring you advice, products, and services. To get started, visit agpromosource.com. Ag Promo Source. Together we grow.
This segment is brought to you by Santa Fe Trail Meats in Overbrook, or visit us online at sftmeats.com.
Folks, welcome back to DocTalk. I'm Dr. Dan Thomson here with Mark Spare. We're at Kansas State University in the College of Veterinary Medicine, where Mark is not only a veterinary student, but also working on his PhD, focusing on the topic of anaplasmosis, and just a great description of what anaplasmosis is, how cows get it, and what's going on in the body. I would be remiss if I did not give a shout out to the Keith Westerfeld, who has supplied us with the new DocTalk coffee mugs, these Orca mugs. Thank you, Keith, out at Blueville Nursery. We appreciate the gifts. When we're talking about anaplasmosis, Mark, what do the clinical signs, what's a cow going to look like that's suffering from anaplasmosis?
That's a great question, Dr. Thompson, and there's still quite a bit of variability in the way each animal expresses their infection with anaplasmosis. What we see is that animals younger than 2 years old are affected differently, and that's a little bit of an arbitrary line, but affected differently than animals that are older than 2 years old. An animal that's younger than 2 years old is consistently making their red blood cells. Hematopoiesis, that's a vet school term that I've picked up here in class, so I'm paying attention to that.
Good.
So they don't get the signs as much. The older cows is where we see the signs such as icterus, which is the yellowing of mucous membranes or paling of that as they lose red blood cells. We see lethargy. They're tired. They're dehydrated. They don't go to water. They're often not with the herd. Their heads are hanging down. They're not breathing like we would expect to see a respiratory case, but they are breathing harder because they're having trouble getting oxygen to their tissues as they're losing oxygen carrying capacity. We also see some aggression, which as I get thirsty and tired, I get aggressive too sometimes. So we see some aggression. So be careful when you're out there. You think you have an anaplasmosis issue and you see an animal by herself, she might come and take you. So be careful as you approach that situation.
So it makes sense, just like when we see with some of those chronic BRD cases, calves that are hypoxic or having a hard time getting air, they can't fight, they can't run from you, so they decide to just get on the fight.
That's
and
right.
Those anaplasmosis animals are probably having some issues with oxygen exchange, and they
Definitely.
just get on the fight.
Definitely.
Yeah, so we've got these cows. They're out there that are icteric. You mentioned that they won't have the redness or the red tint, blood in their urine, and so that's one way we can differentiate between anaplasmosis and others. What are some of the recommendations today? Obviously, we want people to work with their local veterinarian, but what are some of the recommendations today for treatment of anaplasmosis?
Good. Well, first of all, I think anaplasmosis, to be succinct, is a good disease to prevent. And so we need to prevent by having good husbandry practices, maybe changing needles every animal. That's a difficult one to do, but we need to. We can actually treat with oxytetracycline and LA-200, but by the time we recognize anaplasmosis, that animal had been infected for 21 days. So what we really see is an endpoint parasitemia where those red blood cells have already dropped, and that's what's really hurting the animal. So we see mortality maybe in 30 to 50% of cases of anaplasmosis, but again, it's really hard to really identify those cases in the field.
Outstanding. Folks, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk with Mark a little bit about the research that he's doing on anaplasmosis. You're watching DocTalk. Thanks for joining us.
I'm Rexanne Struve, veterinarian in Western Iowa. I have a veterinary clinic and started doing stem cell therapy on dogs in August of 2014. And after the first 2 dogs, after 3 weeks, I saw such dramatic results. I said, hey, I have arthritis. I have joints that really need this help. Where can I go to get this done? I had stem cell therapy done in November of 2014 on my finger joints, my hip, and the ball of my left foot, all of which I'd had real severe problems with. Saw a pretty dramatic improvement in a short amount of time. I would certainly recommend that somebody don't wait until I'm in the position that I was in with the damage already done to my joints. I encourage veterinarians to use it for their animals, and I encourage anybody who sees this video, if you have need, get in contact with these people because this is a phenomenal place to have this done.
Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego is driven by the spirit of American ingenuity. Come in for a new Chevrolet car, truck, or SUV. If we don't have exactly what you want, we'll find it for you. And we also have a great selection of used cars. We make sure you have an easy, fun, and transparent sales experience that saves you time and money. But if you want high-pressure salesmen and hours spent in the finance office, you'll just have to go elsewhere. Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego. We're making car buying great again.
The BQA Tip of the Day, sponsored by Beringer Engelheim Vetmedica, Inc.
Howdy, I'm Kurt Pate with the Tip of the Day. We deal with a lot of bulls around this place, and we get along with them pretty good because we work them a lot. And if you work them properly and move them quite a bit, the fighting will reduce, and every time you move them, they learn to take pressure, and then when you start to work with them, they don't start fighting each other.
As fourth-generation farmers themselves, Heinen Brothers Ag Service understands the risk and rewards of farming. So when it comes to quality aerial and ground application, fertilizer, ag chemicals, and anhydrous ammonia, call Heinen Brothers Ag today, 800-760-4964.
No matter where, no matter why, the Veterinary Health Center at Kansas State University is committed to providing quality patient care to animals and exceptional customer service to their owners. From routine checkups to emergency and specialty care, our world-renowned specialists and experienced professionals are here to discover, to teach, and to heal.
Let us know.
How can I help?
How can we help?
This Medford, New Jersey school bus runs on biodiesel, and so do these. In fact, all of these buses run on clean-burning biodiesel, which is great because the more we use biodiesel in our heavy-duty vehicles, the less carbon pollution in our air. Think how great it would be if more of our school buses ran on biodiesel. More biodiesel, less carbon pollution. More is less. Biodiesel, America's advanced biofuel.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Soybean Commission. Progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Hey folks, welcome back to DocTalk. Dr. Dan Thomson here with the to-be Dr. Spare. You'll be the second generation veterinarian. His dad, Randall, who I'm sure is watching the show, is veterinarian down at Ashland, Kansas. Mark, you had some fun, well at least it sounded like fun, this summer doing some tick capture work. Can you just talk a little bit about what you were doing?
Yeah, that was quite the experience, Dr. Thompson, and fun. Some days were pretty fun, but I did end up picking a lot of ticks off myself. So that was certainly the sacrifice. We also ended up with ticks in our freezer, but I'll come to that, and my wife wasn't real happy about that thing. But so what we know about ticks and their interaction with anaplasmosis is that some ticks are able to be infected by this Anaplasma marginale. Some of these ticks can be persistently infected, similar to cattle, so they carry that through their lifetime. Now, ticks are an interesting species, and I'll quickly outline their life cycle. Some of them are one-host ticks, some are three-host ticks. A one-host tick sticks with an animal for their entire lifetime. A three-host tick actually feeds on an animal as a larva, drops off, molts to a nymph, feeds on an animal, drops off, molts to an adult, and then feeds on an animal. If they're female, they'll undergo reproduction at that point. they'll fall off as they're fed to fat. So if you see a fat tick, it's a female. Don't spread that around to too many humans. So then they'll feed, and then they'll lay eggs. Now a tick can lay anywhere from 3,000 to 7,500 eggs. And I found some of those nests, and when you find those nests, you really think that you stumbled into a nest, just a pollen field. But after a while, you look down and they've moved all across your body, and then you get pretty nervous. So what we know about ticks that actually interact with anaplasmosis in Kansas, we specifically have some dermacenter ticks. So this is the American dog tick, Dermacenter variabilis. We are confident that the males can be persistently infected with anaplasmosis, and they have to feed on an infected animal as a nymph. And then they'll drop off. Of course, then they'll go back on as an adult and then go ahead and feed. So they can get this disease as a nymph, as the middle life stage, amplify it for weeks, months, drop off, and then transmit that to several animals.
How many ticks did you go out and trap and find?
Yeah, we trapped 5,013 ticks this summer, excluding the ones that I mashed on myself. What we did is we dragged the fields with flannel flags, and we dragged them fairly systematically, and we went hunting specifically these dermacenters to find ticks that were infected, and then we'd flip them over, pull them off with tweezers, put them in the freezer, and we'll go back and study those for the molecular signs of being infected.
So you'll look and see which ones are infected and where they came from, what pastures, and I assume, we got to go to break here pretty quick, but I assume you did this over multiple ranches. And
we did. We actually designed a series of sites where we could examine tick density, population distribution throughout the Flint Hills. So we studied pastures all the way from Pottawatomie and Riley County down to Cowley and Chautauqua counties. I had a number of young undergraduate girls who I'll give a shout out to. They performed extremely well I had them getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and we'd go out there before the dew to catch these ticks. So,
well, if you're going to be a tick hunter and be spared to the tick pile, you're going to have to get up pretty early. Anyway, folks, thanks for watching DocTalk. We're going to take a break and wrap up with some of Dr. Spare's surveillance work after this.
KFRM is one of the largest farm radio stations in the nation, dedicated to informing and entertaining rural listeners from northern Oklahoma to southwestern Nebraska. You can catch KFRM in many ways, of course, 550 on the AM dial, streaming at KFRM.com, or on your smartphone by going to the TuneIn Radio app, or on Ag AM in Kansas on Tuesdays and Facebook every day of the week. KFRM, tune us in. You'll be glad you did.
It's Shrine Circus time! Enjoy a weekend of thrills, chills, and tons of fun at the Kansas Expo Center, February 17th, 18th, and 19th. See our tigers, our elephants, our high-in-the-sky acrobats, and watch a man shoot out of a cannon. Kids, Johnny Rocket, everyone's favorite, is back. For more information, visit www.arabshrinecircus.com. And be sure to thank our corporate sponsor, Security Benefit, the Arab Shrine Circus. Don't you dare miss it.
This Meet the Future Veterinarian is brought to you by Zuprevo. Choose confidence. Choose Zuprevo for BRD treatment.
Ellen Unruh grew up in East Central Kansas and earned her bachelor's degree in animal science from Kansas State University before attending veterinary school there. She is currently working on her master's degree in veterinary biomedical sciences, studying heat stress in feedlot cattle. Upon graduation, Ellen will focus on food animal medicine and do beef cattle research work.
Broadband has become as important to us as highways. That is why DocTalk is teaming up with NTCA, the Rural Broadband Association, and rural broadband companies like Blue Valley Telecommunications in fighting for quality broadband access through the program Smart Rural Communities.
I don't think we have any idea what's coming in the future. I couldn't have imagined 5 years ago what we're doing today. So in 2 years, I would guess there's things we can't imagine that we're going to be doing.
To learn more, visit ntca.org/smart or bluevalley.net.
Healthy cows start with the new hired hand automatic livestock sprayer. Rancher invented to provide an efficient alternative to pour-on and injectable parasite management systems. The portable design allows cattle to treat themselves head to hoof. Strategic device placement with pass-through activation technology takes the stress out of parasite treatment for cattle and the rancher, leaving more time to tend to other vital tasks on the farm. To learn more, visit cowsprayer.com. The new hired hand makes healthy cows easy.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture. To join today or more information, go to kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
Hey folks, welcome back to DocTalk. Dr. Dan Thomson here with Mark Spare. We're at Kansas State University's College of Veterinary Medicine. We're talking about ticks, anaplasmosis, sick cows, summertime, but we're going to talk a little bit about a tremendous study that Mark's taken on behalf of the beef industry, not just in the state of Kansas, even though it's centered in the state of Kansas, but one that's never really even been attempted to understand more about what's going on with anaplasmosis and its spread.
Good. So one of the things that we don't know, or we don't know a lot of things about anaplasmosis. Historically, it's been a very significant disease throughout the southeast and in Kansas, even into the western Idaho, Montana area. We are not confident, and it's very difficult to get a hold of the distribution and density of anaplasmosis infections. So
in our cow herds.
In our cow herds.
Yep.
Cow-calf industry is inherently difficult to study because it's out there. It's kind of nubious. So what we've done in Kansas is we've divided the state into 9 districts, and we actually randomized veterinarians in each district that practice in a mixed animal setting, so they see cows and other animals potentially, and we randomized them and asked them, as we picked them, to, if they would join us, partner with us in collecting samples from cows as they preg checked them or saw cow herds between October and January, although we're going to extend this into February of this year. So what we believe that we will get a look at, a snapshot of, is a random sampling of cow herds throughout the state of Kansas in each of these 9 districts. And as we submit these samples for assay, we anticipate that we will see positives and negatives by the herd, and we will get a good handle on a randomization, a random sample of density and distribution of anaplasmosis infection throughout the state.
So how many herds total?
Yeah, we aimed for 16,100 samples, so that's 1,610 herds throughout the state. The state has about 23,000 cow herds.
And how many veterinarians would that involve then?
We actually, I did anticipated this question, so I did a quick count. We have well over 150 veterinarians throughout about 85 practices that are helping us in this study. It's a
big effort.
Tremendous relational opportunity.
So then you also sent a survey out, and can you kind of just, in a nutshell, what you're looking for with the survey of the herds?
Good, and we sent a paper survey out so that we would have management data on each of these herds as we look at their positive or negative status, so that we anticipate being able to examine ratios or risks between management practices and the positive or negative status of a herd.
Okay, so great study, lots of things going on. You got multiple herds, over 150 veterinarians, and you'll have surveys that will be able to say, in the positive herds versus the negative herds, these are different management practices.
That's exactly right.
All right. Well, thanks for being on the show today.
Thank you, sir.
Outstanding job, and what a talent and great person for the veterinary profession. We're very, very proud to have Mark Spare here at Kansas State University. We're thankful that you watch DocTalk, and if you want to know more about what we do, you can find us on the web at www.doctalk.tv. Remember, always work with your local veterinarian. Thanks for watching us today on DocTalk. I'm Dr. Dan Thomson, and I'll see you down the road.
Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com.